In the whirlwind of wrestling news that is shows being cancelled and WrestleMania hanging in the balance, we've still got some regular old-fashioned wrestling news stories to talk about today, including WWE stars not being paid. Let's not talk about that world-changing thing that's happening. Not gonna do it. The Revival have been withdrawn from TV for quite a while now, being replaced by the Lucha House Party in a tag team elimination chamber, and not being featured on any weekly TV shows or even house shows. WWE have tried their best to get the tag team to re-sign with the company, with reports for their offers going as high as $1 million per year each, which is an absurd amount of money. All their efforts have proved fruitless, however, as the pair are still set on letting their contracts expire and leave WWE, probably for AEW. Reports were surfacing that WWE were still confident they were going to re-sign their contracts, before those reports vanished and were replaced with reports that they were instead going to be made comedy acts on their way out instead. Those reports have now vanished and been replaced with reports of the pair being sent home to wait out the rest of their contracts. According to Dave Meltzer, the main thought behind this change is that if WWE did decide to make Revival comedy characters, it might unintentionally get them more over on their way out of the company. Kind of like what happened to Matt Hardy when he was attacked by Randy Orton, because crowds don't buy that kind of burial in 2020. Who says Vince is out of touch with current day trends? Instead, the Revival have been removed from our screens entirely, but even though they're home and still under contract, the reports are that they are not being paid. According to Fightful Select, both Dawson and Wilder have exceeded their downside guarantees, which is why they're not being paid. For those not in the know of what a downside guarantee is, don't worry, I also had to Google it. A downside guarantee is essentially the minimum amount of money someone would be paid in a year, with the possibility of earning more from house shows, merchandise, bonuses, etc. The Revival have earned more than what their downside guarantee is, so now WWE are just not going to pay them until their contracts expire, I guess. The report from Fightful Select states that multiple sources within WWE have heard that the Revival either weren't getting paid or that it was extremely scaled back because they've already exceeded their downside guarantees. With the Revival off our screens for the foreseeable future until they are free from WWE, who will random heels align with to take down a singular babyface? They'll just have to spawn some new ones, I guess. Spawn. Like how the rapid spread in the infections have been caused by the infectious nature of the corona. No, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not talking about it. Look, I know. The talk of the wrestling news world right now is all about shows being cancelled and wrestlers missing out on bookings, and you know, the collapse of society as we know it. But just for a little bit, we're going to give that a little bit of its own medicine, and we're going to quarantine that over here. But we do have a very cool announcement related to this whole thing coming up at the end of this video today, so do stick around for that. But first, let's talk about Vince McMahon losing his mind over a photo. Thank you to WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer, Rodrigo Benitez, for being an awesome pledge hammer on Patreon. Last week, the WWE rumor mill was fired up once again as Cain Velasquez posted a photo alongside Ronda Rousey at WWE headquarters on Twitter. Funny he should bump into her there, of all places. According to Dave Meltzer, it was actually coincidence they were both there at the same time, as they were both there for different meetings about a number of different things. WWE has gone a bit nuts on the meetings front since December, since there's been a lot of managerial change-up since then. More on that later. It was also noted that the photo posted by Velasquez apparently riled up quite a few people at WWE headquarters, including one Vincent Kennedy McMahon. According to Meltzer, whatever plan they have in place for Rousey is supposed to be kept an absolute secret, to the point where only a few people even knew that Rousey was at the headquarters at the time. So Vince wasn't too happy to see a photo of a supposed top secret project and a guy who hasn't been seen since October last year together, with him freaking out. But knowing he couldn't fire the supposed leaker because there wasn't a leaker, it was just Cain Velasquez enjoying bumping into an old work colleague, like a high school reunion. But much cooler. This, of course, led to more rumors of Rousey's return, which could include a potential return at WrestleMania. You know, if it's not cancelled because of Corona. Nope. Still not talking about it. Or she could potentially return the Raw after WrestleMania, inserting herself into a program with new women's champion Shayna Baszler. Or she could cost Becky the title at the show, ensuring Shayna gets the win. There's so many possibilities. Changing gear though, a very interesting story can be found in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter about Triple H reportedly receiving a demotion with WWE. On the surface, this really seems somewhat unthinkable for a man so intrinsically linked with WWE and with Vince McMahon, who's been working his way up the corporate ladder for years now. However, after WWE co-presidents George Barrios and Michelle Wilson were fired last year, there were people in WWE who had hinted that something almost as big happened in December, but were never really clear on what exactly that was. Now, however, it seems we know exactly what that was. A new SEC filing revealed that Triple H has got a shiny new job title, and it's long and convoluted. Like most things in WWE. Triple H is now the Executive Vice President, Global Talent Strategy, and Development. Now that may seem like a pretty grand title, but this is considered a demotion by people in the company, because his previous job required him to be head of talent relations, and he oversaw many different departments underneath him as he was Executive Vice President of Talent, Live Events, and Creative. It seems with this shift, the Cerebral Assassin's main role is to deal with NXT, selling NXT TV rights and expanding NXT, which probably includes the ever-rumored NXT Japan. Meltzer noted that Vince McMahon's Chief of Staff, Brad Bloom, took over Triple H's other duties as EVP of Operations. This change has been described as a quiet demotion within the company. However, it does mean that Triple H is now more focused on NXT as a whole, rather than having to worry about various things on the main roster, which could lead to an even better NXT product, which I'm all for, really. Give me more of the Performance Center being destroyed. And now we've got a really cool announcement for you, so I'll hand this over to the coronavirus. Damn it, I mean, Ollie Davis, and our very special guest, Will Ospreay.
Now, on Monday we were meant to put on our first ever live wrestling show, but unfortunately, due to worldwide outbreaks of viral infections, we had to postpone it, which means there's going to be no fans there. But we had a venue just sitting there on Monday, and then this guy got in touch to suggest WrestleTalk Showcase No Fans Monday. Tell them what it is, Will.
Well, my idea is that a lot of people are now in self-isolation, loads of people are a little bit worried about this, and a lot of independent wrestlers rely on these bookings to make their living, to pay their bills, to eat their food. They need this money and they need to be able to wrestle. So I thought, well, why don't we just put on just a nice dream match card full of loads of independent wrestlers and just put it out there live on YouTube, but I just did not know where to start. So this is why I got in contact with you, and WrestleTalk have been incredible of just harnessing years of backyard wrestling that we used to put on YouTube, and now we're going to do it live. I'm going to go back to the backyard in a weird way.
And it's going to be all of the proceeds from your super chats on that stream to all the advertising revenue. I doubt there will be much because, you know, coronavirus. All of that will be put into a pot and it will be split equally among all the wrestlers on that card, all the film crew and the commentators and the referees that are working there, all free of charge to put on this show for you. It's kind of emotional. And it's going to be at 7 p.m. GMT, live streamed here in the UK, which means it's on at 3 p.m. for you in the States on the Eastern Seaboard, and midday for you in Pacific Standard Time as well. So hopefully you'll probably be at home anyway, self-isolating, and you can join in to watch what is currently, of course, card subject to Corona.
Yep.
A very good card.
So how about we just announce one of the matches right now is David Starr versus Calum Newman, my little protege who's coming back. We're going to do that match. What about Connor Mills, one of the most upstart British wrestlers right now, against Carl Fletcher, the Aussie Arrow? How about we got the OJMO versus Paul Robinson? How about Rampage and Nathan Cruz teaming up against Robbie X and Kid Lycos 2? There'll be more matches announced, but there's one thing I wanted to do. Usually I don't wrestle that much in England, and I really wanted to wrestle someone new, someone that I've never faced before, and I always like to sink my teeth into something that's always just a little bit, I don't know, Will. So for the first time ever, I will be wrestling my girlfriend, Bea Priestley. Yep, I am going to be one-on-one with my missus, and I think there's a lot of built-up tension between the two of us because we haven't seen each other in a while, and I know she wants to beat me up. I want to get her. I love her too much, but I know I'm a pain in the ass sometimes. I know this is going to be an outstanding card. There's still more matches to be announced, still more wrestlers to be announced, because everyone just wants to come in and get involved. And that's the kind of thing you guys, you fans at home, have been wonderful. You guys have been awesome. So we want to give something back to you. The show's completely free. It's going to be live on YouTube. So anything you guys can do just to help support all these independent wrestlers, it just means the world to all of them. And they just want to give back to you guys.
And you can actually start supporting this project right now. Because if you go over to WrestleTalkMerch.com, you can get yourself a Support Wrestling Screw Coronavirus t-shirt, where all the profits again will be put into this pot and will go back to the very people that make this business as great as it is, the professional wrestlers themselves. And also we've got a support@WrestleTalk.com email address set up, so send in if you want to be involved. If you're a wrestler or a promotion, you know, we're hoping that this can grow if that first one goes better, because unfortunately, it seems like this isn't gonna go away anytime soon. We could be looking up to 2 to 3 months of no shows around the world. So let's just do more of them, hopefully.
I've got some crazy ideas. If you guys are up for it, I'm up for it as well.
We are up for it. Shall we shake on this?
Absolutely not. We can do this. We can do this.
Do this. Cool.
We can do that.
So go over to WrestleTalkMerch.com now. Set a reminder for Monday evening / midday if you're in the States, because we're gonna do WrestleTalk Showcase No Fans Monday.